Okay, hello everybody. I'm just going to show you a new deck of mine, which I actually built around the card you see here, Psychosis Crawler. Yes, I'm sure most of you think of it as a multiplayer commander type of a card, but in reality, it can be played in one versus one games pretty well. So I just built many decks actually around Psychosis Crawler, but the one you see here is the best of those. It's the most competitive one. So what you're looking at right now, let me explain a bit. This is basically a green, red, blue control deck. There are such decks in today's standard, but this deck takes full advantage of Psychosis Crawlers. This part. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses one life. So I'm drawing huge amounts of cards with this deck. Why? Because of Garuk. You see, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. If it's a 5/5 Psychosis Crawler, I draw 5 cards. Psychosis Crawler deals 5 damage. Actually, it's not damage. It makes my opponent lose 5 life, and then it becomes a 10/10. So Psychosis Crawler has synergy with all the cards here. Consecrated Sphinx. Alright, it's great on its own. You draw 2 cards, you get a 4/6 flyer. But what happens if you pair it with Psychosis Crawler? You draw 2 cards, make your Psychosis Crawler even bigger, and make the opponent lose 2 life more. The same with Blue Sun's Zenith. It's not in the deck just because I want to draw cards, but every card I draw with Blue Sun's Zenith is life loss, thanks to my Psychosis Crawler. So, unlike the usual, regular, and standard red, green, blue control decks, this deck is much faster in finishing the opponent, just because of Psychosis Crawler, as a matter of fact. And it costs 5. It comes down, before the Titans, and it can be devastating. I mean, I have one sample game after this, deck tag section, and you'll see how devastating it can get. So let's examine quickly the main deck and the sideboard. Then I'll show you the sample game. First, mana, Solemn Simulacrum, and Rampant Growth. Pretty basic stuff for getting to high amount of mana. Then my removal is basically that's the reason why red is in this deck. Galvanic Blast, Slagstorm, my mass removal. It's a fantastic card. I mean, there's no denying it. Brimstone Volley. This is how I kill Titans. I block one with Solemn Simulacrum. My Simulacrum dies, gives me a card. Then it achieves Morbid, which means a dead Titan. So it's a great card. Then I have what do I have else? Mana Leak, pretty standard. I cannot think about a deck that plays blue and doesn't play Mana Leak. And 2 Beast Within. Beast Within is a very flexible card. It can be artifact removal, enchantment removal. It can kill Titans. It can kill Inkmoth Nexus if you want to. Wolfran, Cassic Wolfran. It can kill Planeswalkers. Anything. And that 3/3 token is nonsense considering the cards I'm playing. Look at my removal and you'll understand why. And then I have one Karn liberated at the end of my mana curve, just because he's Vindicate, and he's very useful. And with the amount of mana I'm producing with this deck, it's very easy to get him out. As well as Snapcaster Mage. I have so many removal here, but why not use them a second time? So that's the reason why I have 2 Snapcaster Mages in the deck. So that's the main deck. With the sideboard, I have a flexible sideboard once again. Wretched Bomb comes in against token decks as well as very fast aggro decks, red decks mainly. So they play lots of 1 drops, 2 drops. Wretched Bomb is main red of God against those decks. Against those decks, I also bring in Tree of Redemption. This card is crazy. It's no, red decks cannot kill it. That's a 13 toughness, as you see. And if the white aggro deck spends an Oblivion Ring on it, be my guest. I'd be happy. You just wasted the Oblivion Ring on my Tree of Redemption. Anyway, I also have the fourth copy of Slagstorm and one Arc Trail. That actually acts as my third Galvanic Blast. This is, one spell, two dead creatures. It's very useful. Ancient Grudge, pretty, self-explanatory against artifact heavy decks. And then six counter spells: Dissipate, Flash Freeze, Negate. Alright, the mana base: Copperline Gorge, Shrootbound Crack, Hinterland Harbor, Sulphur Falls, a bunch of basics, and Buried Ruin. Buried Ruin, of course, gets me back my Psychosis Crawler, but after the sideboarding, it also gets me back my Wretched Bombs. It's crazy. Alright, let's move on to the sample game. This game actually, I thought first recording a game against a well-known deck, but the deck you see here, the deck I'm facing here, was very interesting. Actually, I very much liked my opponent's deck, so that's the reason why I'm showing you this game. So that's not a deck you see before. I haven't seen it before, so it's something completely new. Alright, let's start. I keep that starting hand. Here comes his Spellskite. And now you'll see how he will turn that simple Spellskite into a Voltron. You'll see that. You'll see that. Alright, the first sword. I said the first. Yes, there are more coming. In the meantime, I draw cards and I just drew my Solemn Simulacrum, meaning mana. I have two Consecrated Sphinxes in hand, so I just have to get them out. He swords his Spellskite, neutralizes my Solemn Simulacrum, and now makes me discard a card. I'll discard my land. I can get more, and now comes his other sword. But, this, as I told you, this Spellskite will turn into a Voltron in a moment. But unluckily for my opponent, I'm playing blue and I'm playing colorless. So that's the problem. Here comes my Consecrated Sphinx. And now Better Skull. His deck is basically all artifacts, equipments. And now here comes my Psychosis Crawler, and now you'll see why I have it in the deck. As it is, it's now a 7/7. Now I draw two cards. That will make him 9/9 and will make my opponent lose 2 life. You see? It's very nice. Too bad my Psychosis Crawler dies to a Neutralize, and my Consecrated Sphinx just has been exiled with Dispatch. So I'm basically defenseless, and this attack will hurt a lot. I'm down to 2 life. Now what do? I play my Solemn Simulacrum, get a land, and pass the turn. On his turn I will first Beast Within that Better Skull. I know he'll take it back to his hand, I know that, but that Better Skull had to go. And I draw a land. Now comes my Mana Leak. I play my Sphinx, and now I'll counter his Better Skull. So one problem solved. Now I get back my Psychosis Crawler. I play it. Start my, fun chain, so to speak, once again. 2 cards, 2 life. He plays its champion, which has protection from all colors, but I just don't care. I have my colorless creature as well. So, now he's down to 15 life. I just make him lose 5 life without playing anything. And now I just played my second Sphinx. So you just do the calculation math here. How much life he'll lose and what happens and blah blah. On his turn he just draws his card, doesn't like what he saw and conceded. So if he didn't concede, I was going to play Blue Sun Zenith next turn and I was going to end him anyway. So with just the amount of mana I have here, I was going to deal him how much? 10 damage here already. So okay, that was very quick, but as I said, my opponent's deck was also very nice. With all those swords and champions and spell kites and whatever. I hope you liked the deck I showed you here. Uh, let's take a quick look at it again. Sadly, I didn't show you any Garruk actions because that's also not so with Psychosis Crawler. But you know, you just can, you imagine how broken it is. So, all right, that was the game. That was the deck with Psychosis Crawler together with Garruk and Consecrated Sphinx, and I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching.